Let's talk about the Igbo resistance that lasted 31 years. Ndewonu, and welcome to today's episode of Mpako. Today we are going to be talking about the Ekumeku movement. None. In the late 19th century, the British arrived western Igbo land, aiming to control trade, impose taxes, and dismantle indigenous leadership systems. Before the British, Igbo land was a collection of independent communities ruled by councils of elders, Umunna, Umuada, the age grade, and titled men and women. This confused and worried the British because they couldn't easily impose their direct rule system. For years, the Igbo traders have been successful in palm oil, ivory, and textiles, and the British wanted monopoly of these goods. They wanted full control over the land, the people, and their trade. Resistance from any Igbo community was met with violence, taxation, and forced labor. This gave birth to a strategic resistance group known as the Ekumeku movement in Anioma. It was a secret guerrilla movement that used silent tactics as their power. They moved like shadows and disappeared without notice. They struck in secrets and communicated in encoded messages and sounds. They were like ghosts in the forest, highly strategic and disciplined. While the British used guns and cannons, the Ekumeku warriors relied on spears, swords, and the efficacy of some indigenous magical skills. Some of their key coordinators were Chief Nwoko of Idumuje Uboko, Obi Osai of Ogwashuku, Odogwanyasi of Idumujono, Dibia Ida of Onitsha Olona, Ochie Areze of Ubuluku, Obi Okafo of Owa, Obi Agbogidi of Ibusa. The British, frustrated by the continuous ambush and attacks, launched their first major counter-attack in 1890. Some of the Ekumeku leaders, including Obi Osai of Ogwashuku, were captured and executed. After this, the British thought they had won, but the Ekumeku was not just one person, it was a movement. So they regrouped and was even stronger. They gave the British a tough battle for many years. But by 1900, the British had fully declared Anioma as part of their colonies. But the Ekumeku warriors refused to submit. They attacked British colonial headquarters, destroyed government buildings, and targeted British allies. But the British, with more backups, responded with advanced weapons, including machine guns and explosives. Villages like Ibusa, Ogwashuku, and Owa suffered massacres, with thousands killed or imprisoned. But they kept resisting, they kept fighting, they kept launching attacks on the British. By 1914, with the British using heavy artillery and burning towns, the Ekumeku resistance was finally overpowered. But even though the movement ended, it inspired later resistance across Igbo towns, and the Ekumeku warriors remained legendary resistance group in history. The Ekumeku movement was one of the longest anti-colonial resistance movements in Africa's history. For 31 years, they resisted. The story of the Ekumeku warriors reflects the Igbo proverb, Umunna bụ agha, Igwe bụ ike. The British, though, came with guns and cannons. The Ekumeku movement fought with unity. You know, I keep thinking, what if the Ekumeku had won? What would the Igbo society be like today? Well, it's a question for you to think about too. And this is where we'll bring it to a close on today's episode of Mpako. My name is Amarachi Atama Ogo. Ekelemunu. Next episode will be as well interesting. Ndewono.